Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
That's right. Another week, we're back to chat with you about all of your favorite card games and everything
and
else.
Miscellaneous hobbies. We getting the stuff.
I think this is actually going to be a kind of lengthy episode because there's just a lot to...
You didn't tell me. I should have ate something before we started recording.
Yeah, sorry. You're going to have to survive.
I had half a Subway sandwich, y'all.
Yeah, 4 hours of a podcast today. No, I hope it won't be that
Woo!
long. But, yeah, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! News and a lot of other things just to cover, so I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time in Yu-Gi-Oh!-ish.
Yeah.
It has to have a little asterisk there.
It's simultaneously the best and the worst. I have to apologize in advance, too. We have phones instead of our tablets, because I left my tablet at home, and I think his is dead or something.
I've got caveman internet right now. My phone's a little slow right now.
Yeah, we'll be using our phones, but I'll try to be professional and not look at it too much.
But how professional is a phone versus a tablet anyway?
I know. Okay, so what's going on with Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now? There's a lot, actually. Where do we start, though?
I feel like we should start with the elephant in the room. Do we still have that case of tins in here? No.
Oh, the Mega Tin? Yeah, they're not in here.
Oh, okay. Well, it's the elephant not in this current room, but it was in this room. The Megatins.
Yeah, I mean, this is like our third week talking about these, actually.
But we have opened them ourselves.
Yeah, we did open them. There's a video on the channel. I kind of lied, and I was like, yeah, I'm only going to buy like a couple of tins. But then I saw them on TCG Player for like $160 for a whole case. That's like $13 a tin. So I bought some.
What is the MSRP per tin?
$21.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can get them for like $13.
I went to a shop and they sold me one for $23. I was really upset.
Yeah, so we did open a case. Any changes in opinion having opened these tins? What do you think of like rarities or just what we pulled?
So the tins aren't garbage in general, but they're for a specific type of player. These tins have no value, if you know what I mean.
When I was opening it, I went into it thinking like, okay, these are not going to be the best, and I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not. It hasn't like this is not God's gift to Yu-Gi-Oh! By any means.
Best
right? Like they still have
time.
They're still missing, in my opinion, a good like staple kind of card. There's no Pot of Prosperity, sort of evenly matched Barone type of.
They could have thrown Ash in again.
Yeah, they could have even done that. But I will say that getting some of your favorite decks just rarity bumped is nice. I pulled a lot of Exo-Sister cards, and I was actually able to basically get a Therion core.
Yeah, I was annoyed how many Exo-Sisters you pulled.
Yeah, I feel like I got lucky because they made most of them secret.
I was like, come on, man. Like, the only archetype that I got a lot of representation for was Amazonas, and like I didn't really need reprints of those.
Yeah, and like I said, I got a Therion core out of nowhere. Like that was like a deck that
we pulled like 2 Regulus.
Yeah, a couple Regulus, like 3 Borea, the field spell and stuff. So that was a deck that it's one of those decks where like decks will come out and you're like, oh, I kind of want to build that, but like not enough to commit to really doing it, and so it just kind of passes you by. But then like the tins come out and it's like, oh, I can literally just kind of randomly pull them, and they're like all really cheap now. So I was like, oh, cool, I can actually make this.
Didn't Therion have like a short window in the meta at one point?
Yeah, I mean, Regulus has been and still kind of is like teched as an option in like decks that are machine prominent. I know like Super Heavy Samurai were able to use it. Was probably the most recent example, but even like when
rest in peace, Super Heavy.
Yeah, it's any time that, like kind of machine decks are around. The Earth Machine deck obviously really loved it. It's a pretty good one, but in general, they're not very popular. Borea can be used in plant decks, though, so there's that. But I'm building it in Master Duel as well, just for fun.
He builds everything in Master Duel, y'all. He can't be stopped.
It's not actually completely. There's a lot of URs in the deck, but
he will do it.
What did you think of the QCRs?
I mean, you guys already know. I wanted Neos. I didn't get Neos. Spoiler alert. But we did pull a quarter century Red Eyes and a quarter century Stardust, and I thought they were gorgeous. And those are cards I will definitely be adding into my collection and into some decks. Not the Red Eyes, guys. I'm not playing Red Eyes. I can't do it.
Yeah, we know how Alec feels about Red Eyes. Question: so, which Red Eyes do you prefer, artwork wise? Because we have both Red Eyes and Quarter Century.
We have the starter deck Red Eyes, the one from the anime, and then we have the first alternate art Red Eyes, the one with the kind of dark, the black and the red. What do you
kind of
call
greenish
that
background too?
Is that the Shonen Jump Red Eyes?
I don't know where it originated, but which one do you prefer?
Oh, for sure, the starter deck anime Red Eyes. That one, I found that design to me is perfect, and no other Red Eyes redesign has come close.
Yeah, I asked people on Twitter, and they also seem to generally agree. The Star Deck Red Eyes is kind of the
Beautiful.
so. I don't know. Any other like stray thoughts on them?
On the product,
On the tins?
the like it's
there's not a
nice
lot
to
to say.
have if you collect tins, and there's a lot of people who do. I mean, it won't look bad in your display of modern day tins.
Oh yeah, that does remind me. I think that they look better in person than they do in the online renders.
Yeah,
that was like the
for
first
sure,
thing I
they do.
noticed, like the embossed kind of design. Because I remember when I saw the renders, I was like, these look very busy and like kind of not good in the like online images.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got it in my hand, I was like, oh, this is cool.
And it's a bit refreshing because the last few tins we've had have all been Egyptian themed, and they were kind of samey.
Yeah, they all run
Two
together.
of them were part of the tablet, the Pharaoh tablet.
No, three were.
Were three of them part
Yeah,
of the
the
tablet?
tablet was 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Ah, okay.
And then 2019 was the gold Sark.
Yeah, the gold Sark.
And so
tin.
like it basically meant
oh,
four.
I'm missing a tin in my collection.
Yeah, so basically it meant there were 4 tins in a row that effectively looked the same from a distance.
Yeah,
And so this is a nice visual
breath
shake
of
up.
fresh air.
That said though, I'm
I gotta
still
find the
team
tin
bring
I'm
back
missing.
like the window where it shows the promo card.
Paul, they don't do that anymore.
I guess first I got to get promo cards back.
Windows are impractical.
They are actually, that's the actual reason why. But would it not be so cool if we could like go back to getting like windows in the products? By windows I mean like, whenever there's like a starter structure deck or like with tins, they kind of have like the little plastic
Star deck
display
Yugi,
and
Star deck Joey, you would see the
ace
card
cards,
through
like,
the little window.
Yeah. I think as a kid, it really like drew something about like it promised that you were going to get what you were going to get inside. Like it was
think
proof
as a
that it was
kid,
in there.
that was really important. When the Star deck Yugi and the Star deck Kaibas came out, there's an important draw of that's the Dark Magician.
Like, he's
that is
there.
Blue Eyes White Dragon. The only thing separating me and it is this piece of cardboard.
Yeah. And so I think it was like a really great way to buy.
And it's a great bait to get people to learn to steal.
Yeah. At Walmart, that was a big, big problem. Also, though, that reminds me. So I know, like with those, the reason they don't do it is also it's like a little more expensive to kind of make the product, and it's also a little more wasteful because there's like kind of plastic and other stuff being used. But I realized several months back, I think basically around the beginning of this year, I want to say is maybe when they started doing this, Yu-Gi-Oh packs in stores like Target and Walmart, I believe too, like the blister packs now use like kind of just the paper covering. They no longer have the plastic like covering.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it. It's just I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh, this looks different," but it has nothing to do with really anything. I just thought it was really nice.
I get skeptical when I see blisters on shelves packaged in a way I don't expect. I'm always worried about repackages because of many trips to Walmart.
That's true. And these, I guess you probably could repackage them as well since they're just sort of adhered. They're just some adhesive or something. But anyway, yeah, that's the tins. Get them if you can get them for cheap. That would be my basic
Which means
recommendation.
go online.
Go on DGG Player, use our link, supports the channel. You don't have to, but you can.
I will recommend, and I know you guys will like shoot me for this. If you have an LGS, a local game store, just pick up one of their tins, please. They need help selling those things.
Yeah,
Just buy one. Just one.
Times are rough.
Just one.
Shh, careful, Alec. Don't go telling them to buy Yu-Gi-Oh packs.
I know I shouldn't.
Okay, so YCS Vancouver happened this past weekend, and this was actually a pretty big piece of news for a number of reasons. The event was won by none other than Jesse Cotton.
The man can do anything.
Definitely kind of the modern day, actually in my opinion, just at this point, of all time GOAT of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! This marked his 6th YCS win. I think he's the first player to do so. And also, I mean, like, he's done it over the course of like so many different years and formats.
I feel like I've seen Jesse Cotton 3 times, and at these 3 different events, he won.
Yeah, he definitely tends to come away with the gold. I know the times that I've gotten to speak with him, very, informative person. I think the piece of advice that when I asked him for like just a general piece of advice, something that he said was like, always stick to like the game plan. Don't let like emotions and stuff influence your moment to moment decision making in a game, or like superstition or anything like that. And so I've kind of been trying to take that mentality when I play in like Master Duel and stuff, and it kind of works out. So
hey, if it's advice from him, I mean that's like advice. I mean, like that's advice from Tom Brady. That's advice from Michael Jordan. You know,
right? Yeah.
Like,
so shout outs to him, and also perhaps more importantly to the average sort of casual viewer, he won with the Unchained deck, and not only did he win with it, this was like coming off the heels of the previous weekend where, you know, Pac and his team, they won and he was using Unchained, which popularized the Unchained deck.
Wasn't the finals of Vancouver
it was an Unchained mirror match. Yeah.
That's how well it performed.
The top 4 had like 3 Unchained decks. The top, like, it made up the highest percentage of like the top cut in like top 32, top
beat
16.
out Kashtira, which I still think means that people are just tired of that deck.
Yeah, I think people are kind of bored with Kashtira and they're just doing anything to avoid playing it. But the Unchained deck is an exciting one to see as a top tier contender because it got support in Duelist Nexus. So maybe this could be a reason for somebody to give Duelist Nexus like a second look.
They got the new Link monster in Duelist
They
Nexus.
got a new Link monster and then those 2 new level 6 monsters. But also, you know, Unchained as a deck is a little more mid-rangey. You know, it's not just, you know, 10-minute combo, like set up all the negations and just end game in one turn. It definitely can grind with you, and it can certainly like simplify resources and stuff against your opponent really well. So I think in that way, it's a refreshing deck to see that at the top compared to maybe like a Kashtira that's just a Rise Hard, or like a, you know, a long combo from like Dragon Link or some pile thing.
It is nice to see a format that has lasted longer than I think many of us have liked.
Right, for sure.
Still have like a shakeup and a change at this point in the game.
So here's something fun about it too. Unchained got support in Duelist Nexus.
Right.
But what also got support in Duelist Nexus was Infernoble Knights, which managed to make an appearance at the top cut. Pirelli, which already was a pretty good deck, but did
everyone
get more
knew that.
in Duelist Nexus. And even a Rescue Ace deck managed to, I think, squeak into top 32, if I'm remembering correctly.
I mean, there's a lot of early movers on Rescue Ace, you know, for anticipation for the next format.
So what I'm hoping maybe is that this helps to shift people's perception even slightly around Duelist Nexus, because while the set is far from perfect, it does show that a lot of the cards and like decks and archetypes and stuff that were like supported in that set have gone on to make some competitive impact. So, you know, maybe people will give it a bit of a second look.
Revolution Synchron.
Yeah, that one's also been
Revolution Synchron.
It's been pretty popular.
What was the name of that set again?
Is Duelist
Revolution
Nexus.
Synchron.
Actually, you know what's funny about that? I don't know that Revolution Synchron, despite being the most expensive thing, I don't actually know that it's even. Is it like, I don't know if it was used in some of the top decks.
That's actually something I was looking into after the event. For the list I could find, I was trying to see if Revolution Synchron was really there, and I didn't see it, but I also didn't see all the lists.
I haven't like delved super deep, but it definitely seemed like a pretty competitive event. It really comes across to me as though competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in a pretty nice place right now. People seem pretty happy, at least as of these last few weeks, with what's been going down. I know that there is like a darker side to it. Like there's kind of there's like the prize support thing. I've been seeing a lot more players kind of expressing dissatisfaction with just getting, you know, like 12 packs or something for a top 8 premier finish.
Play some meta Yu-Gi-Oh? Want to play some meta Yu-Gi-Oh? I got a Kashtira deck.
Oh dear God, no. But you know, some people are kind of, you know, disappointed with stuff like that. But I do think that at least in terms of people going to these YCS events, they seem to really be enjoying them. Mm-hmm. And this week, the kind of back-to-back-to-back trilogy continues because it's YCS. I
forget which one's next.
Somewhere in Mexico, I want to say.
Oh,
I thought it was Mexico City, but it's somewhere else, I believe.
It wasn't in. Was it Cancun?
Cancun, I think, is this weekend. Yeah, is that?
Yeah, YCS is in Cancun.
Yeah, because I know that they also announced something that was like. There's so many different ones that have been announced at this point.
I think I need to go to YCS Cancun. I'm gonna compete, I swear.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just hop on our flight tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, that's another event. I'll be interested to see if, like, Unchained can carry the momentum it's gotten from the past 2 weekends and continue to perform, or will people, you know, come prepared, and will it be caught lacking?
And then Kashtira wins again.
I mean, the thing is, I know that Kashtira, I think people are not playing it because they are, like you said, a little bit bored of it and stuff, but it does still, like, it is still very much an oppressive deck. So
Yes.
I think that, I hope like Konami doesn't look at this and be like, oh, Kashtira's fine, we'll just leave it all
Nah.
alone. So
That will be hilarious.
because they have not yet done a ban list. So that is still
Waiting.
something that people are waiting on.
And guys, that's why you have to buy the Megatins. The faster they sell, the faster we get a ban list. Wouldn't that be a crazy narrative to start spreading?
What if Konami actually did that? Like, there's actually a sales quota, and they're like, we're not releasing this ban list until this many tins have sold. And if these Yu-Gi-Oh players want to say our products suck, then they'll never get a new list until we sell 1 million boxes of Duelist Nexus, 1 million tins.
They're holding the ban list hostage.
Yeah, that would actually be like kind of terrible. Okay, so speaking of that, actually, I am glad you mentioned it.
Of a hostage or a ban list?
A ban list.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Okay, so this is something kind of interesting. I found out today
What'd you
that
find?
apparently China has a completely separate ban list from the TCG and the OCG.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
this was actually on Twitter. People were just talking about it.
But wait, when we went to the Worlds in Germany, I specifically remember there were Chinese content creators. Now, where in China they're from, I'm not sure. But I remember there were Chinese content creators, so I assumed we were playing under the same format.
Yeah, I can't speak to it in much detail. There's just some stuff that people were talking about on Twitter. But
Oh, so it might not even be true.
no, it's real. I mean, there's like a link
okay.
to the ban list. Somebody had like kind of shared some screenshots and stuff, and like they have just different cards that are like legal, not legal.
What's the craziest thing you see?
Somebody had a screenshot, and I'm trying to find it because like it seemed pretty interesting. Okay, here we go. So, like, Wandering Griffin Rider is banned there.
Ooh.
Nightmare Mermaid, I see Guardian like Aggerpain, Pot of Greed and stuff. There's just certain cards like Vanity's Emptiness. It seems like it's similar enough, but there are just cards that are on there and like different. And because of the names, I don't know what some of these cards are.
Just have a list update?
I think it just updated.
So what are the changes?
It's,
If you can find them. I
well,
don't know.
I'm gonna say these card names, and you're gonna be like, I don't know. It's like Mental Skeleton Equipment Gamma, which I'm guessing is Sci-Frame Gear Gamma.
Yeah, that sounds like Sci-Frame Gear.
Got like quasi restricted, which I believe means to
Semi-limited?
one.
Yeah, or limited. That,
Galatea, Lyra Galatea, which I'm sure is like Orchest Galatea.
I wonder what they're doing with her.
Orchest and lyric, maybe like music. Neighbor Mows Lawn.
Are those all quasi?
These are like things that are quasi restricted.
Okay.
Which I'm just that grass looks greener. Now I think this might be like a screenshot that was like Google converted. Mm-hmm. Apostle of the Bottom of the World. I don't know what that is. Yanwu Tainji. Like, if you guys want to look into this, you can find out. I mean, I guess it's not really relevant to us. Like, I don't really play in Japan or in China, obviously, but
There's a difference between China and Japan, Paul. I don't know.
no,
if you
that's
knew
not
that.
what I meant.
I don't know
That's
if you
not
knew
what I
that.
meant.
I'm just letting you
No.
know there's a
But
difference.
because I always thought that,
I'm an ally.
China was like just an OCG territory, but it's apparently
The entire country of China is just an OCG territory to you, huh? Wow.
yeah. But no, I really thought that was like the list that they used. But yeah, I guess there's a completely separate one. So if you guys want to maybe look into it, it might just be something fun, or it could be a weird alternate format to play, perhaps.
Speaking of the OCG, this is a small thing. It's not a story. But I've been always confused on like Asian English cards
yeah, the rarity.
because every so often like an Asian English card will cross my like view. And if you guys don't know, there are Asian English cards distributed to territories where Konami either can't or doesn't feel like translating it into the native language of that country or region. So they just print it in English.
Yeah, I know.
And these
like,
are OCG cards and not legal in the TCG, but they are in English.
Yeah, I remember when I was getting like kind of my rare old school cards collection, there was always like the whole Asian English thing for like things like Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, and they had like different prices, and then there's also like Australian versions of cards that like seem otherwise identical, but like they have like AU and the little card code. And
Wait, are Australian cards OCG?
no, they're TCG,
Oh,
but
okay.
like it's just it's these little layers of complication and kind of like, I guess, localization, different versions of things. So
Australia is really far away from like most TCG like territories.
yeah, they don't. To my knowledge, they don't have like issues with getting cards. I know that that's a big thing that's associated usually with Brazil. I've had a lot of players from Brazil who've like messaged us and kind of like explain the situation to me. Apparently, like getting TCG cards is pretty difficult there. A lot of times they get their sets very late.
I actually don't understand how South America as a whole, the entire continent, gets such little support from Konami.
I mean, I think that they're trying to improve it. I know that when they had the YCS last weekend, the 3v3, YCS Brazil, or weekend before last, it was actually for the first time, I believe, in South America, a streamed event, like a live streamed event, and even it got like hosted by like kind of local players, like players from Brazil. Fiaspo, who we actually know, Fiaspo was one of the hosts for it.
But he doesn't play the physical game.
I think he maybe plays a little bit of Speed Duel.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but yeah. So I mean, so that was like a step forward. But I do hope that Konami can get the whole like, getting products like shipped out and released on time there settled. I'm not gonna pretend to know. I mean, I know like supply chain stuff is difficult, but
I took a class on that at one point. I got an A.
Yeah. So Alec can solve the problem. Just hire him and he'll get your Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
There's a story about how I got an A in supply chain, but we're not gonna get into all that.
Yeah, so that was an interesting thing. Let's see.
The professor could be bought with soda and beer.
Yeah, YCS Vancouver, so that happened. It's cool. And we've got one more YCS coming up. I think that's all in terms of like YCS news. So now we get into a new ban list that dropped. In a format most people do not care about. Speed Duels.
That's right.
Yeah, so Speed Duel did just get a new ban list.
That's this format, guys, in case y'all didn't know.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. But basically, the Speed Duel ban list it works like Duel Links, where there's like kind of the limit 1, limit 2, limit 3 thing.
So any card in the limit 3 category, you can only have 3 copies of the cards in that category. It's not that you can have only 3 copies of a single card, because you can already do that. It's 3 individual cards in your deck can be in that
entire
section.
list. Yeah. So basically,
that probably didn't make sense. Still,
I think
that's such a hard thing to articulate.
That's actually why I think it's going to be. It would be a very like people want this sort of like format in the TCG where it's like kind of limit 1, limit 2, limit 3, and just that difficulty in explaining it is partly why logistically I think it probably can't work, because TCG's got such a large card pool. But I will just read straight from the horse's mouth. So the Speed Duel limited list works like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Forbidden and limited list. There can be limited 1, limited 2, and limited 3. So limited 1, only one of the following cards out of all the cards that are limited 1 can be used in your deck and side deck. And so the new changes are that they added I'm Just Gonna Attack, which is the Joey skill card. It's now limited 1.
I know people have hated playing against that.
Yeah, that's the one that can negates traps in the battle phase. Yeah. And can power up a monster a little bit.
You can essentially stop any one of your opponent's battle phase traps.
And then also Twisted Personality, the Yami Merrick skill card, got limited 1.
Which I'm actually glad for, because people weren't running the vampire skills and were running vampires just with Twisted Personality.
Yeah, that's a Merrick skill card. If I'm remembering correctly, it's the one where anytime that you take like damage, you get like a counter, and when you have like 2 counters, you can remove them to like pop a card or something like that.
Yeah, it was a very useful skill.
And also, Golden Ladybug is new to limited 1.
Oh, it's new there? I thought it was.
Yeah, they say it's newly limited to 1. So this one's a little bit weird if you're like not familiar with Speed Duels, but in Speed Duel, one of the biggest like issues for a lot of people is actually the prevalence of stall decks.
Yeah, they keep evolving.
Cards like Zoma the Spirit, Nightmare Wheel, Mask of Weakness, or one of the cards that like you equip it to a monster, it can't attack, and then like its owner takes some damage each turn. Like those sorts of cards, like stall decks can be really obnoxious in Speed Duel, not Master Duel.
Oh, he's got Master Duel in the brain.
And also, because of the nature of like stall decks, people can use Golden Ladybug to get their life points really high, and it's just so I think that they're trying to kind of tame this. Offerings to the Doom, which is already on this list, Floodgate Trap Hole is new to Limited 1. Nightmare Wheel and Zoma the Spirit. So of all of those cards I just mentioned, you can only run one of them.
Just a single copy.
So they also
Floodgate's good to hit to one though, because if your opponent can catches you in such a way, they can flip all three of your monsters, and that's all you can have in Speed Duels face down. And they can't be flipped up. You probably can't win anymore.
Yeah, so some cards are also moved from Limited 1 to Limited 2. Jinzo got moved to Limited 2. It used to be Limited 1. This is an important one because Esparoba got support in Speed Duel Streets of Battle City. Check out our video on it, by the way.
Okay, good. I had to make sure that's the right box.
Yeah, so only being able to run like one Jinzo.
It's very difficult
kind of
with
hard
a
to use.
Jinzo deck.
Also, Cocoon of Vulture Evolution was already on the list. Parasite Paranoid was already on the list. Volcanic Shell, Allure of Darkness, Foolish Burial, and new to Limited 2, Machine Angel Ritual.
Good.
That also came in the previous kind of GX Speed Duel product. It's one of the stronger ritual spells, and Reinforcement of the Army is new to Limited 2. So it was at Limited 1.
Okay, so it got
so
pushed
actually allowing you to run
good.
2 Rhodas. Pretty cool. And then finally, they removed from Limited 2 Union Hangar, just entirely. And so I guess the XYZ kind of Union strategy wasn't, I guess, as big of a deal anymore. So Limited 3...
They recently added the VW XYZ stuff. I wonder... No one in the TCG really messes around with that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the last GX set, I believe, you got
okay.
VWs. So that means you have VW XYZ. And I'm wondering how that works with a Union Hangar. If at all.
I don't know. Now, Limited 3, Cyber Angel Benton, Breaker the Magical Warrior, Cyber Dragon, DD Warrior Lady, Book of Moon, Cosmic Cyclone, Wall of Disruption. No, nothing is new there. So
yeah. Limit 3 is essentially a place where you just put the good
any
cards.
3 of those cards.
Cards that can use. A lot of cards that people just tech into decks because they're good. They go into Limit 3 to limit how many staples people are running in their decks.
Yeah, you'll notice those are kind of, like you said, just the Breaker, the Magical Warrior, DD Warrior Lady, kind of like Cosmic Cyclone. Those types of cards, they're just so generically useful. They're kind of limiting how many total staples you can run.
Because you could cram them all into a deck, and actually your deck will be quite strong.
Yeah, you're just playing like kind of the good stuff deck.
Yeah, every card is value.
So this is new. Now, something interesting about Speed Duel ban lists, we'll call them, is that these are called events only.
So that means the out-of-package experience, like if you want to play a sealed Streets of Battle City game, it is not affected by this restricted list.
Yeah, and also like if you play at locals, it's kind of up to your locals, I guess, if you want to apply that. But this is typically what's going to be used at like YCS Speed Duel public events. If we just confuse the hell out of you, because I know that it's hard to really like wrap your head around how Limit 1, 2, and 3 works if you aren't used to Duel Links or something already, you can just look it up.
I think Cardfight Vanguard has a similar restrictions system.
But yeah, like I said, that's also why I don't think the TCG could really have a system like this, because TCG runs so much deeper. The card pool is so much more like... There's just so much going on. It would be really hard to have like that kind of thing. It could be useful for balancing, but I think that like imagine conveying it to new people. Here's how the ban list works.
Just trying to explain it like a few minutes ago, I struggled. I was like, man, how do I make this clear and concise where everyone knows? It's not that intuitive. It works.
Yeah, it definitely works. It works for Speed Duel because Speed Duel's card pool is not big, and it's like pretty like this list is actually fairly short.
That is the benefit of Speed Duels. It's a very controlled format. This is how many cards get introduced at a given time. These are carefully like curated stacks of cards, and there's a lot of reprints in here. So there's only a certain number of new cards they introduce every year, and that lets them, they don't have to make such a huge ban list if they just don't print the cards.
Yeah. So if you're playing Speed Duel, it's definitely worth kind of checking out, particularly if you're planning to play it like as public events at YCSs. Keep yourself up to date on this sort of thing. You don't want to be taken off guard. Next new thing is that Master Duel currently has a new event that's happening. It's the King of the Island event. So it's another one of these type-based events where it's Beast, Beast Warrior, Wing Beast, Insect, and Reptile. Those are the 5 types that you're allowed to use.
What would I use?
And what deck would you play, given the rule set?
It's tough. I think Fire Fist.
Yeah, that's one of the decks a lot of people have been using. So the reason I'm mentioning this event, it's a cool event. I think conceptually it's really good, but I brought it up because of some of the sentiment I've seen around it on like the Master Duel subreddit. Ever since somebody left a comment saying that I have Master Duel subreddit opinions or something, or Master Duel brain rot, I have actually since, because so for context, somebody left a comment a few weeks ago and they were like, Paul sucks because he just parrots Master Duel subreddit opinions. He has Master Duel brain rot or whatever. I don't know what exactly this person meant by that. But
Well,
either
now
way,
we know because here
at
you
the
are.
time, I was confused because I was like, I don't even like follow the Master Duel subreddit. But now I was like, you know what? I'll follow it and just see what people talk about on Reddit about Master Duel. It's about what you expect for the subreddit of a game. Memes, complaining, the works. But people are talking about this new event because Konami was especially thorough this time around with really like limiting and banning crucial cards from like the decks you'd expect to run this event. So, normally you would think, okay, well, this is going to be the Tri-Brigade event, right?
Oh, yeah, that makes
because
sense.
typically
That
in
makes sense.
events, like they did the Fiend versus Fairy Festival just like maybe a month ago. And people were kind of upset because that was like right when Labyrinth had gotten their new line of support. And so it kind of just felt like, oh, this is just a Labyrinth event.
Lab Fest.
Because they just kind of run the whole thing. And it largely turned out to be the case. But typically they'll like kind of slightly nerf stuff. Like I think Labyrinth got like a couple small limitations. But this time they went through and scorched the earth. I mean, like Tri-Brigade Nerval is banned.
Good.
And Tri-Brigade Revolt is banned.
Oh, wow.
So two of their just best kind of engine cards and stuff are completely like locked off from them.
But you still have access to their Link monsters.
You do, but just they're a lot more fair in that context.
Right.
And the thing is though, so you would think, okay, like they'll maybe hit like Tri-Brigade and a few other heavy hitters, but actually they went down the list and kind of just hit it all. So, stuff like Zodiac's got some nerfs. Even like things like Ancient Warriors and Gladiator Beasts.
I forgot all about Ancient Warriors
Yeah,
and
they're
Gladiator
Beast Warriors.
Beasts.
Yeah, a lot. Like they really, Melfi didn't even get access to Merry Melfi's, their synchro.
Wow.
It's like
I didn't know they had a synchro.
You don't want it. It's it can be really annoying, at least in Sprite. But yeah, so like they really were very
That
thorough.
man really just said at least in Sprite.
In
Jesus.
Sprite, it's annoying. And in the Melfi deck, I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, so what people have been saying is that this event is a very low power level event because
Is
no deck
tanky
is,
legal?
yeah.
Okay, thank God.
No deck is really able to. There's not like a deck that you can steamroll with, or that has like a super strong like turn
Wait
one.
for me to start doing Fire Fist combos.
I mean, it's Fire Fist low.
Hey, there's no Ash Blossom here. That's our biggest weakness.
True. So yeah, it's basically it is a format where you really kind of have to grind it out. Like you just duels don't end in like one or two turns, and there's not like a singular strongest deck. I mean, I think the strongest thing people have been able to really have a consensus on is like there's sort of a Lyrilusk OTK-esque thing that people use.
Lyrilusk, of course.
And apparently B Trooper is pretty strong too.
I
But-
wanted to say, what are they called? The cat people deck.
Lunalight?
Lunalight. They should be.
Yeah,
decent.
Lunalight and Lyrilusk I think I've heard are both, they have like some kind of OTKs and things. But even they I think got some slight nerfs. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they did. So what's interesting about the event is that there are actually people who are like going, like you'll queue up and like people will choose to go second of all things just to get the extra card.
Because they're running a bunch of going second cards and they're going to blow you away.
No, they're not though, because the thing is there's not like big boards to break. You don't
I guess
actually need to
not.
really be running like Dark Ruler no more and like, what all that stuff, because like it's a much slower paced thing. And so there's been a bit of a polarized effect there. Some people really like it because it kind of feels like playing an older style of Yu-Gi-Oh! That's like a little closer to like an Edison format.
I do like older Yu-Gi-Oh.
Some people hate it. Some people they're just like, what the hell? Why can't I play my favorite decks? Why can't I play? Like, I want to be able to combo. I want a deck that kind of like steamrolls and gives me easy wins. And so it's been fun for me at least to see kind of that, that disparity of like people who maybe are used to playing the fast Yu-Gi-Oh! Of today versus people who are kind of appreciating the slower change of pace. Obviously, I kind of fall into the latter category. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to Master Duel's ability to like give us the chance to like experiment with alternative formats and lower power levels, and that Konami can do it when they put their mind to like making the right kind of hits.
So you say this is a good thing.
I would argue, yeah, I think that it is.
All right, you heard him, guys. Paul's the reason why you have to play a slow format now.
That's my fault. Well, you see, I was at the Konami offices, and I told the developers, I was like, hey,
whispered in their ear.
Yeah, since I'm able to make all the rules, here's what the next event's going to be. That's right, guys. That's the influence I have.
Now we know.
No. But it's a cool event. Definitely give it a shot if you are interested. And also later this month, they're supposed to be doing the Xyz X Fusion Festival. So that's something kind of cool, too. So that's kind of the Master Duel update. Now, I think Duel Links, you said something's happening?
What? Oh, like the KC Cup?
Is that, yeah, that's like
the KC Cup's been going on. I don't know when it officially ends, but this is your chance to just rank up, same rules as normal, just grind. Like, that's the event. You grind until you hit a level, then you grind again for part 2. I don't know what
it's
exactly.
It's like how the Duelist Cup works in Master Duel.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly
like
the dates for like the cutoff for stage 1 and stage 2. Regardless, guys, grind, be the best in your region, yada, yada, yada. Strong decks right now.
Yeah, what are
because
they?
we've gotten new cards in Duel Links, and it's actually affected the meta quite a bit. So, tunes.
Yeah.
Tunes are real.
Yeah, that's
Comic Hand can catch you.
So they got Comic Hand and
they got Tomb Bookmark. Was that the name of the card?
Yeah,
Tomb
that's
Bookmark.
Like kind of research spell. And
they have Toon BLS. Yes, he can hurt you too. Wow. Like that. Tunes are annoying. They will beat you down. They'll take your cards. They'll upset you. Not just tunes. Mm-hmm. I said BLS, right?
Yeah.
Because BLS, the actual deck itself, is also pretty good. Yes.
Okay.
They got the new Black Luster Soldier Ritual Monster that we got in Maze of Memories.
Yeah, I forget what it's like. Ultimate Soldier or Soldier.
The names are redundant. I couldn't tell you.
Soldier Chaos something. Yeah.
Regardless, it made no impact here. It has made quite an impact there. I think you only run it as a one of, but that's fine for that deck. It's pretty consistent. I mean, that's what you need to be.
My assumption is that there's also probably some good skills for these.
Oh, the skills are all nuts. I would have to pull them up and like read them. I don't feel like doing that because some of these skills are fat paragraphs.
Yeah, they're very loaded cards.
Don't feel like doing all that. Some of the decks that you expect to be at the top are still at the top, like Odd Eyes and Destiny Heroes. Still solid stuff. But you do have to play with some of the newer decks in mind. Tenyi. I actually love the Tenyi deck. It's pretty much all worms. That's about as close to pure as you're going to get. What is the other deck?
I was surprised. Somebody told me Draco Berserker, the Tenyi.
Oh, yeah, the new Synchro is in there.
Seems like that'd be a really strong card. But
it's quite strong.
But then again, nowadays Duel Links is at a pretty high power level itself. So
yeah, in Duel Links, you'll get your face beat in. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But Duel Links is at a very high power level, and a lot of that is due to these very fat skills we're getting now. A lot of the skills are like anime style skills. Like I read a Utopia skill that helps you summon C39 Utopia Ray V. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what that is, it's because you're a human. You never would have played that bad card. But Duel Links has been doing this thing where they're making crazy skills that are long and dense that enable you to very consistently and easily make boss monsters that no one's played before.
Yeah. I always kind of find it funny when like Konami has to go out of their way and like kind of just do backflips with writing these skills to make them work. So it's just like a paragraph. When you do this and when this happens, you can do this except for this. But for the rest of the duel, you get to draw these cards and treat this card as this other card. And
there's kind of a formula to dueling skills and what makes a meta skill versus a not meta skill. Typically, the skill first, it outlines the scope. Your deck has to be kind of pure. Like, they don't want you combining these extremely powerful skills with just all the best cards in the game. So typically they'll say you have to run X number of Performer Pals, or you have to be running this many Utopia cards.
Which I would say is
all your monsters have to be like Black Luster Soldier cards or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's the first part of the skill. Then it's like, all right, check this out. So this skill will either put cards into your deck that you don't even have to own, that no one can own, or it will materialize cards out of thin air to add to your hand, to add to your grave,
Like
to add to your extra deck.
field. Yeah, isn't that like I know you were telling me about the Toon World skill where it's just like you can discard a card just from hand.
Actually, you return it to your deck. It's not really
Or
going.
you like shuffle a card from your hand into the deck, and it just kind of like spawns a Toon World just like on your field now.
You get a Toon World.
Yeah, it's not even like search from your deck. It's just like it is in
You
play now.
don't have to run that bad card. It will give you one. Just
in addition
from thin
to
air.
like whatever other good Toon effects or something.
And they'll oftentimes have some type of a continuous effect that can just trigger during the game to then give you some type of payoff.
Some plus. You know what they actually remind me of when I was reading the Toon one? Because I think it's also like you don't have to tribute to summon like high level Toons and stuff. It actually reminds me a lot of like Kashtira Birth, the card. Because Kashtira Birth in the TCG, so for my TCG people, you'll understand.
Yeah, that's not in Duel Links yet.
Or Master Duel or whatever. Is it really does read kind of like a custom card that like little Jimmy made in like, the 6th grade or something. Like where it's this continuous spell that's just kind of loaded with good effects. And it just sits here and like, here's the passive, here's the active effect, and here's the other like sort of passive effect. And it just kind of does like a little bit of everything for your deck.
The type of card that they like slipping into those newer Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks to beef up older archetypes.
Yeah.
Everyone has a card like that.
The everything card.
Crystal Beast, Cyber Dragons.
Yeah.
They all have something.
In Duel Links, I think those are how the skills are designed. It's like, this is the kind of the one-man army of cards, the Swiss Army knife. Like it just...
It will figure out the deck for you. Because I mean...
It will make all the old cards suddenly less awkward to run. Mm-hmm. It will speed things up. It will let you like summon things faster and...
So it makes those decks powerful, makes them powerful and consistent. And during these kind of ladder and grind events, consistency is everything. You're going to play many, many games as you rank up your duel level and whatnot. So you'd like to do that as quickly as possible. So it doesn't matter if this deck is a bit of a glass cannon. It doesn't matter if this deck doesn't have much flexibility. You need the deck to lock in that win quickly and move on to your next game.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of how like I once thought it'd be cool to have like skill cards in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but then I was like, no, there's just too much to keep up with already. Like skill cards in like speed duels right now are still pretty like easy to kind of process and understand, but even those are getting a little bit
make mistakes.
Longer. So we don't need to like another thing to add into the mix.
In every format of Yu-Gi-Oh, we have enough text. We don't need any more text.
So are you going to be playing in this cup of Duel Links, or are you just kind of waiting for a rush?
I'm chilling. Yeah, see, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's edition to Duel Links.
That's at the end of this month?
Something like that.
Or is it? I know it's supposed to be coming like soon. That's all I've heard. So
I think we're waiting for more information. I think there'll be some like sneak peeks or something.
Yeah, I remember they announced it, and I guess we'll find out more soon. I think that's like all of the major Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And there's been a lot of support and stuff for things that's been announced.
That's true. We had the Phantom Nightmare reveals.
Yeah, some Phantom Nightmare reveals. One that stood out to me was the new Saphira and Saravis ritual monsters.
Silent Force, whatever that's going to be translated into.
It's like kind of based on that old ritual monster.
I couldn't tell you its name. Guardian of something.
Yeah, it's got
the ritual spell was Novak's Prayer. That's what I remember.
And so they basically made like monster, like human kind of forms of Saravis and Saphira, but then also the girl who is like wearing the red cloak
on Novak's Prayer,
and she's on Sprite's Blessing and Hymn of Light.
At least the environment.
She's in the artwork or whatever. Yeah, she's a card now. It's like kind of a light ritual dragon/warrior strategy that it's really cool. If you ever thought like Saravis and Saphira were interesting cards, they're literally getting an archetype now. And
you can wrap it all together in one deck. Also, there's new Magispector support on the horizon.
Oh yeah, that stuff was pretty exciting.
It looked fun because they were marrying it with the Draco, Draco Pendulum stuff. So you can run those cards together.
Right. I actually played Magispector back when it first came out. I thought it was really fun.
I was very annoyed.
Yeah, it can be a really annoying deck, but certainly it never really was able to see like top level kind of representation. The cards fundamentally are just weak monsters without actual effects on their own.
It's fairer than it seems.
But they can be like a little annoying because they have like spells and traps that kind of disrupt. So
And like,
this
but
new
Mad
stuff
Spectre
gives it a
Kieran's
lot
been
more.
banned for so long now.
Yeah, so that's kind of the conversation right now. Is people are thinking, well, with all this stuff, does that mean that they're gonna put Kieran to 1 on maybe the next ban list or the one right before Phantom Nightmare? I would say, yeah, I think
it's
would be
fine.
okay.
Like Kieran is a potentially one more interruption your opponent can use on you, but
I don't know. It's
I
more
don't think it
there's so many of
enables
those.
anything more.
Yeah.
It would be just one piece over another piece. Your opponent was going to put up that interaction with you anyway. It can be, but it could have been anything. It didn't have to be Kieran.
Yeah, like I think that maybe the biggest issue people have is like the pendulum soup decks can be annoying kind of to the opponent because they aren't. They'll usually end on like the mythical beasts and then like the Endymion stuff, and then
You know what else is annoying to your opponent? Dragon Link. You know
Yeah.
what else is annoying?
No, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I get you. Like, 'cause
Everything's
as far as
annoying.
I'm concerned, like, I think Pendulum as a mechanic, and this is coming from somebody who does not, I don't really play Pendulum decks. I've only played like one in my whole life. The mechanic doesn't speak to me very much, but I think that they are a mechanic in desperate need of some help. Like,
Yeah.
like Pendulums, they're struggling out here. Like, I mean, there's so much counterplay to Pendulums. There's so many ways to pop spells and traps. There's like the commitment of having to get the scales going. It can be bricky. Anti-spell fragrance actually just straight up does not allow them to function.
You can call Pendulums kind of a high risk, high reward strategy, even more so than your typical combo deck.
Yeah. I mean, I know
They struggle as a control deck because they just have more pieces of like interaction you can kind of blow up.
a lot of people's opinions of them are kind of colored by their early release. Like, the whole, oh my God, like they're turning, they're monsters / spells. That's so confusing. Yu-Gi-Oh's gone into the dogs.
Or people who have PTSD from Pepe.
Yeah, which understandable. That deck was kind of nuts. But I do think people need to realize like Pendulum got heavily nerfed in Master Rule 4. And then when they did the Master Rule 4 revision, they didn't get any like
Never recovered.
recovery from that. So they still have to have like link arrows, and Beyond the Pendulum helps, but then like Electromite's still banned. And it's a very...
In Master Duel, they have both, and it's still...
And even in Master Duel, like even with both, they're just one of the sort of playable decks right now, like sort of. So yeah, I would not mind seeing this new Magic Spectre support, and I would not mind Kieran coming back to 1. So.
I definitely wouldn't mind. I miss my buddy Kieran. I used to play it with my old Odd Eyes deck.
Yeah, so I will definitely be giving that stuff a look when it comes out. And they also... Have they announced anything else? They've got like scant little like kind of one-off cards.
I know
revealed.
yesterday we saw new like white aura cards, like white aura porpoise, then 2 white fishes.
Yeah, I will say I think that Age of Overlord and Phantom Nightmare are shaping up to be pretty solid sets.
I can't wait to play the new Ubel stuff.
Yeah, they're shaping up to actually be sets that feel, game-changing.
Taking all the Neospatians out my deck, and it's going to be a Neos Ubel deck.
You don't like your bricky old Neospatians from 2007?
It's been fun, but it's all about Ubel and Neos now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these two sets are going to be fun for casuals and fun for competitive, and that's really cool. Also, one last shout out to Konami for this new trend of going back.
Whoa! Who are you showing credit for? What?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to ever compliment Konami.
Stop shilling. Jeez.
That's true. Somebody in the comments said I'm a Konami apologist.
Always,
I read that. But then also I've been told like I'm way too negative about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I complain too much. So either it's like I don't know which one I am. But the point is,
look, I'll break it down for you. What you need to do is you have to hate Konami, but show them some love sometimes. You gotta love Yu-Gi-Oh, but also criticize it. And that's it.
That's fair enough. No, but what I was gonna say is I think I really like that they've been doing this weird trend of like going back to old ritual monsters and like vanilla monsters and just turning them into archetypes.
That's
or like
true,
making archetypes
we
around
have
them.
which it's not out yet, but we have the Memento archetype, which is a bunch of old monsters being like kind of
just turned into
reimagined.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to even call these like retrains.
They're just inspired.
Yeah, they're like completely different.
There's also even Nouvelles used Hungry Burger.
Yeah, but that's
funny,
literally
but-
Hungry Burger.
Yeah, so I mean like they just turned it into kind of a thing.
I never finished that deck.
So yeah, you probably should. It's probably very cheap.
Yeah, I still kind of want to.
So Yeah, I don't know. Shout out to them for that. I think that's a cool kind of flavor thing and a good throwback for players who just remember these very old, very bad cards.
Yeah.
Especially us, like we played Rare Hunters, so we've like kind of been,
We have a recent experience with all these old cards.
we've been through the ringer of like pulling trash ass vanillas that just are like level 7 and have like 2,000 attack and just aren't anything.
Ritual
like, no
monsters
effects.
with less than 2,000 attack.
Like don't have effects. Yeah,
Fusion monsters that are weaker than their materials.
it's old Yu-Gi-Oh really was like such a struggle.
So it's the Wild West. Those packs were crazy.
It is funny. It reminds you just how much like people like to kind of glorify old Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And don't get me wrong, like it's a great time, but also there is like the unspoken kind of dirty truth of it, which is that
We don't talk about Firegrass.
a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like the dirty truth of it is there is some just truly shit. Like,
We don't talk about
vanillas.
Metabat.
Yeah. These old vanillas sandwich.
We don't talk about them,
You ever
man.
refuse to make sandwich?
I mean,
You know,
at least Sandwich is a meme, but the rest
Or
of them are hard.
Musician King.
Bruh, man, twin long rods, though.
Yeah, so there were some old bad cards.
Horrible.
Like, it's funny, people like look at old Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Breaker the Magical Warrior and like Exiled Force and Goblin Attack Force. No. You weren't pulling those. Those are foils.
Like, I remember in Rare Hunters playing Beaver Warrior, and that was one of my stronger cards.
Yeah, back in like the very early episodes, like Beaver Warrior's got the most attack you're gonna get. So
Like, because you were playing around with monsters at 750 attack, and it's like, what is going on?
it was rough around the edges. But it is cool that Konami kind of revisits some of this stuff and gives it a little bit of new life. All right,
They need to retrain Beaver Warrior. That needs to happen.
I'm very shocked it hasn't. Especially because they have like Nimble Beaver.
We need
and
a
stuff.
beaver
Like, they could definitely
archetype.
do. Oh, okay. All right. One last quick thing. This isn't like really news, but have you seen the new like prize mats? There's a new Time Wizard prize mat for like Time Wizard public events. That has a super nimble mega hamster on it.
What does it have to do with Time Wizard?
It's a big card in Edison.
Oh, you mean Time Wizard format?
Time Wizard
Okay.
format. Not this Time Wizard, by the way. Shout outs to San Diego Comic-Con. They released this Time Wizard alarm clock that I'm holding here. If you're an audio-only listener, sorry, you'll have to go check out the video. This came out at San Diego Comic-Con. I wasn't able to go. Shout outs to my friend Sleepy Gibbs. She picked it up for me because she was at the event. Anyways, though.
I'm sitting here thinking, what?
Yeah, but anywho, there's a new Time Wizard format public events prize mat.
Okay.
That's Super Nimble Mega Hamster. However, another new Winna mat is the Libromancer mat. And
I did see the Libro, man.
okay, so you did see it. If I remember to, I'll put an image of it on screen. Forgive me if I forget. These are really long to edit. But if I don't, just look it up.
I think, was
It's
that
awesome.
Libromancer Origin?
I think it's Origin. I know it's
Yeah.
like it's the main character guy and he's in the middle, and then like the two forms of him are like on the sides.
Because I think it's supposed to. I don't remember if that was the comic book character that's on the artwork of that card, or if it's the fused version of Geek Boy with the comic book character. I can't remember.
Yeah, so some cool mats, like definitely really neat stuff. Is that everything Yu-Gi-Oh?
That might be everything Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay, we spent a while on Yu-Gi-Oh today,
Yeah.
but there's just a lot to say.
I mean, we're Yu-Gi-Oh players. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's fair. All right, so now I guess the actual stories of the day.
We have. I have a few. I got anything Magic related?
I do. So I guess we got to start with the elephant in the room. Magic community mourns Sheldon Menery, creator of the beloved Commander format. So he actually passed away after battling with cancer for several years. So I'll just read it. Let's see. Yeah, Sheldon Menery, the creator of Commander, Magic the Gathering's most popular style of play, has died following a 7-year battle with cancer. The announcement was made Friday, this is like last Friday, morning on Facebook, where his wife, Gretchen Meld, said that he passed away peacefully. The sad news has been followed by kind words and condolences from across the tabletop industry, and we will be joining them this week on the Pot of Greed. I am not a Magic the Gathering player, or at least certainly not an active one, but I think far and away it is like undisputable that when you hear of like about like trading card games, or someone wants to get you into a trading card game, or you go to your shop, the number one like format played is Magic Commander.
The
Right?
I feel like, I mean, it can't be understated, his impact on the game of Magic the Gathering and the community. The Commander format transformed, and you could argue that it saved Magic.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
He's like a hero for the entire game.
Yeah, it's actually a little insane when you think of, like, I know now, like, kind of like I'm trying to like kind of put this like into like articulate it. So this person, made a format that now the parent company has kind of like integrated as like a standard like way of playing. They market it, they make products specifically about it. It is the gateway point for Magic the Gathering for the majority of people. And just that's just wild to me. It's very impressive. Like, it's when people at your card shop say like, "Hey, you want to try out Magic?" They're talking about Commander.
Often
there's like usually card shops will have like two different nights. There might be like kind of their modern night or whatever it is, but like Commander night is typically the big thing, right? So very much
it's become a part of the culture. You can't understate the effect that he had on that game, and I think we all hope to be able to affect our favorite franchises and games in a similar manner. You can't always. It doesn't really work out that way. But I think everyone should aspire to, if you love something, whether it's Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or any other card game, try to keep it alive in spite of itself,
in whatever ways you can. Commander is a multiplayer format of Magic, which is originally designed as a strictly two-player game. It allows 3 or more players using unique 100-card decks and a singular leader character to enjoy a more casual style of gameplay. The format is known for its sense of creative expression, with players concocting all manner of clever uses for existing mechanics, including Menery's own signature deck titled "You Did This to Yourself," which turns opponents' cards into weapons to be used against them. So, yeah. I think it's just, that's really cool. A little bit more on him and his creation of the format. So Menery, speaking with Polygon in 2020, where I'm reading this article from, discussed the birth of the Commander format in detail. He said that it grew out of the Elder Dragon Highlander, or EDH format, I hear a lot about that, a variation to which he was introduced during his time at Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage, Alaska. Later, during his time as a high-ranking judge on the Magic Pro Tour, Menery would further refine this EDH variant, expanding its potential for creative deck building and laying the groundwork for what would become the format's governing body, the Commander Rules Committee, of which he remained an active member until his death. So,
talk about lifelong commitment.
Yeah. So I think it's just, it kind of reminds me a little bit actually of, in a sad way, I guess, Kazuki Takahashi's passing just from last year. So it's a person who made a thing that so many people really love.
Yeah.
So even me, a non-Magic player, I can just say I think this is a very, very impactful person. So
yeah, my condolences to his family.
And is there any other Magic stuff happening?
Actually, I did have another Magic story.
Okay.
This one surprised me. I didn't actually know that this happened at all. The title reads, Smite introduces another Magic the Gathering collaboration skin.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know there was a Magic and Smite collaboration. I don't know if you're not
Smite
familiar.
is the...
So Smite is like a...
it's a MOBA, I believe?
It's like a MOBA hero shooter, but they're all like deities.
Okay.
Zeus, Poseidon, that type of mythological stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway... after the success of their crossover event with Magic the Gathering earlier this year, Hi-Rez Studios and Titanforge Games have another new skin released based on one of the cards for Smite. Players will be able to obtain the Garruk or Garruk. I think it's supposed to be Garruk, but Garruk just sounds right to me. Garruk the Wild Speaker skin, which is set for character Chak. Not sure if that's how it's pronounced, either by directly purchasing it or by rolling it in their recently released Magic the Gathering chest. Ooh, I love chance-based things.
Yeah, I know, Alec, you're a sucker for it.
The chest also contains skins from the previous event. While it may not be another new event, this does continue the game's continuing relationship with crossover brands. They did Avatar and V Shoujo.
You know, Magic really does do a lot of crossovers, huh?
Magic gets around. Well, that was about Smite, but
I guess yeah, Smite's doing it, but I mean, still, they seem to be pretty willing to do it. Like it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
For Magic.
I mean, I would think there's probably some like overlap between drop my phone. There's probably some overlap between Smite players and Magic players, and so combine the two, you spread out. That's a good collaboration.
Yeah, and it's a pretty low octane one. Like it's not anything major, but it's still really cool if you play either one. You can just kind of have a little bit of a crossover. Being a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, we always gotta sort of bring it back to Yu-Gi-Oh in some way. I really do feel like Konami misses out sometimes in not allowing a little bit more Yu-Gi-Oh crossover. I know they got that one like puzzle game, like Puzzles and Dragons or whatever it's called.
Puzzles and Dragons, and the baseball game
collab with that.
What was it called? I forget the name. Power Pro.
Yeah, Power Pro. I mean, and I think that's kind of more like a Japanese sort of
especially since
thing.
Power Pro is owned by Konami, I believe. So is it really a crossover?
And I was gonna say I was supposed to talk Jump Force, but that's like just owned by Shueisha. So of course, Yu-Gi-Oh could appear in that. Yeah, I always feel like Yu-Gi-Oh needs to either appear elsewhere, like give us the Fortnite skin or something. Or
come on, man! I love Fortnite. I just want to shoot people with Yugi.
Yeah, that sounds so awful out of context.
They can have a Dark Magician or a Blue Eyes card in game that when you obtain it, you summon it and it attacks.
Yeah, and it's not shooting them with a gun. It's like little white
lightning attack,
ball attacks or something. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool crossover. Well, speaking of card games, I think we should also talk about Disney Lorcana. They're getting their second set.
I never got any of the first
set. The second set of the Disney Lorcana trading card game, titled Rise of the Floodborne, will release in local game stores on November 17th and mass market retail stores on December 1st. A limited edition Disney 100 edition collection will be available at all stores on December 1st. So I know it's supposed to be adding Honey Wizard, Winnie the Pooh. It's like kind of
okay. I was like, what is a Honey Wizard?
Yeah, like Honey Wizard version, I guess, of Winnie the Pooh and more. So
Winnie the Pooh was ruined for me in high school when a kid wanted to prove that Rule 34 was real.
That's a nice bit of Winnie the Pooh history to have. But yeah, so I know some people. I saw like an image of a new playmat that there's going to be.
I don't want to see it.
So yeah, I mean, I remember Chris sent me the story actually just to kind of talk about, and it seems like Lorcana it's chugging along, second set.
With these newer card game releases, it's typically the second set that that fixes the supply issues of the first, whether that be they need to get more supply out or the extreme demand dies down. I'm actually not sure that'll be the case here.
Yeah, something kind of cool about Lorcana is that I heard this just recently. I didn't know. I was like watching a pack opening or something.
Watching one pack opening? Like they opened.
Well, it was like on a Simply Unlucky binge or something, and
okay.
I just kind of ran across a Lorcana video he had done. But he was saying how card shops, if they were caught selling, so if they were allocated like Lorcana products, like starter decks and packs and stuff, if they were caught selling those like online, then they would be like barred from getting future Lorcana product, which I thought was a really good sort of safety measure to help, mitigate
like
scalping and like shops like not actually selling the product to their local scenes or communities, but instead just hopping online, selling structures for like $35 a pop and just making a big profit. So I thought that was a really good thing for Ravensburger to do. And I honestly think, more places should maybe be doing like Pokemon and stuff like they have that problem sometimes with
Magic
shops.
Doesn't have an MSRP.
Yeah, then there's that. So anyways, here are the Rise of the Floodborne products. Rise of the Floodborne will have new booster packs, starter decks, Illumineers troves, playmats, card sleeves, and deck boxes. There's a slideshow gallery, but basically, Rise of the Floodborne booster packs will sell for $5.99. There will be 2 new starter decks featuring cards from Rise of the Floodborne. One will be Amber/Sapphire. I guess those are like kind of how the colors go. Like there's like colors, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So Amber/Sapphire, spotlighting the Queen and Gaston. And the other will be Amethyst/Steel, with Merlin and Tiana.
Oh, those are cool combinations.
So it looks
One sounds like villains, and the other one, I guess, like protagonists.
Ruby and Emerald will be left out this time. They will retail for $16.99 each. The new Illumineers Trove.
Try getting them for $16.99 each.
That might be a little harder. Will feature Rise of the Floodborne cards and cost $49.99. Troves from the first chapter contained 8 booster packs, 2 deck boxes, 15 game tokens, a player's guide, and a storage box.
So that's their version of like an elite trainer box.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get. And then new playmats are $19.99, and they feature Beast and Winnie the Pooh. So those are the playmats that people were talking about.
Cursed images.
New card sleeves are $9.99, and deck boxes $5.99, featuring Mulan and Sisu from Raya.
Yo, the Mulan movie is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Eddie Murphy's Mushu, while culturally insensitive, was a hit.
And The Last Dragon. So, yeah, here's something kind of interesting about Lorcana.
I thought you were talking about Eddie Murphy.
I wasn't going to indulge, but no, but you're right. I mean, it's Mulan. Actually, I remember watching a lot of Disney movies like in school as a kid. I was just never much of like a Disney kid. Like at home, like we didn't have very many of the movies.
Played the Disney VHS, I mean the Mulan VHS on repeat at home. Soundtrack was fire. Oh, that takes me back.
Something that I was gonna say was that it's interesting seeing, I guess because they got that Disney money, they're doing like the whole 9 yards of like of card products and accessories.
Yep.
Like very early out the gate, like they're selling you sleeves. They're selling you deck boxes. They're selling you play mats.
Everything you need to get into the game.
It's everything you need to get in, but it's also it's a little bit trickier than that. There's kind of a world where Lorcana could be your only card game if it was your first game. Like, how when you play card games, you'll typically get your accessories as like Ultra Pro sleeves or Dragon Shield sleeves or whatever, right?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
And like, maybe you'll get a custom mat from someplace. But they're kind of keeping it all walled garden. Like if
at least aesthetically.
Yeah, aesthetically walled. Like obviously you can, do whatever you want. But it's kind of one of those things where like if a kid was playing, Lorcana for the first time, their parents, like maybe if they've never played a card game before and they're introducing their kid to this, the kid can like fully deck out their deck. So now it's like, I've got my Elsa deck in my Elsa sleeves, on my Elsa mat, in my Elsa deck box. And like it's all first party, let it go. Like you can be like fully immersed in that.
Right.
And it's interesting because like Yu-Gi-Oh has all of that too. And like Magic and stuff, they make that stuff, but they weren't always doing it. Like for a long time, Yu-Gi-Oh.
We didn't have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh accessories or Yu-Gi-Oh branded items at all.
Yeah, it's like now they have like the deck boxes and the binders and stuff, but that's a newer development from Konami over just maybe the last few years. So I think it's cool, and it seems very like a very conscious design decision where they almost are keeping you mentally like Lorcana's the only game that exists. It's like the only game you need.
All there is.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's like a cool strategy, and it shows there's definitely got like the supply chain thing like down, like where we're getting everything released.
Hey,
so.
That's how you successfully launch and keep a game rolling.
So,
I respect it.
I will say I still have not been able to get a Lorcana structure deck. Larry and Trell have found them in places around like our city, but every time I either try to get them or hear about it, they're like sold out. So
that's because you don't try and move until after 10 a.m. You got early bird gets the worm.
That's like when Target opens.
Do you want Lorcana or not?
At 10
you line up at 6 a.m.
I don't want to get shot like the people in Pokemon. In the Pokemon boom.
Yo, do not get that serious over Lorcana. No one needs to die.
People, like there's like a story about people getting shot over those Pokemon cards.
The Hercules movie isn't real. We can't go down to Hades and like barter for your soul. It doesn't work that way.
In the Yu-Gi-Oh, you can.
Well,
yeah.
There's no Shadow Realm either.
So, I don't know. Yeah, shout out to Lorcana. I will try my best to maybe pick up these new decks if I can't get my hands on the old ones. So, I mean, I want to actually like give it a crack. Everything I've heard about it has been pretty positive. It's supposed to be a pretty simple, accessible thing. And so, it's all about me getting the packs. It's tough for me to get into a new card game, so for me to even be that interested is...
That's a fact.
Probably as good as it's going to get. Any other stories? Card game stuff in particular, if you got any.
My bad. I had the soundtrack from Mulan stuck in my head. You ever heard that one song with Stevie? What? No, I'm not getting into all that. But y'all know. So this is kind of like a gag post, but there was a Pikachu card sold on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
It was listed for over like £285, which I don't know what a pound is. I know it's a type of currency. I just don't know the conversion.
What that
so I don't know how
to,
much that would be. But anyway, this 285-pound Pikachu card, not weight, monetary value. At least that's what it's being sold for. It has a unique autograph.
Okay.
To justify the price.
Okay.
It's signed by Pikachu.
What does that mean?
That's what the listing says. This Pikachu card is signed by Pikachu, and I'll show you a picture.
The voice actor?
I'll show you.
Okay, remind me. I need to put this up on the screen.
It's big. They sold this on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, what the hell? Oh my god. Okay, so for audio only people, explain.
So someone took what looks to be a ballpoint pen and just into this this very regular Pikachu card wrote in fairly decent penmanship Pikachu, but I think they made a mistake spelling the U at the end because they kind of went over it much darker, damaging the card so you could read it.
Kid literally writing on a card. Like that's what it looks like to me.
Yes. And then they put it online to sell it.
For I guess maybe roughly like $250 or something, I'm guessing.
That is hilarious.
It's why?
Description. Mint condition signed 1/1 Pikachu signed by Pikachu. Met Pikachu at footy, and I believe footy is soccer for people who call it that.
Okay. That definitely must be like a not American thing.
How can it be mint condition if they dug into it to write the U?
Did I ever tell you that story about the guy who marked his cards because he was tired of them getting stolen?
I know the story. I don't know if
I might not have told
the
podcast.
Story.
Yeah, so when I was in maybe 7th grade, I want to say, we kind of were getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! I kind of got out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Around maybe 3rd grade or something, 3rd or 4th grade, and hadn't played in a good 4 or 5 years. And so, I was kind of starting to get back into it. And there's a group of friends and stuff. And there was one guy who had a lot of cards, a lot of rare cards actually. And he would bring them inside a giant duffel bag. So
just raw, no
raw
protection?
cards, yeah, no protection.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, these were just imagine just a full duffel bag of just cards.
Your friend, I think, might have been a serial killer.
His name was Blake, I think, but
look him up in databases, y'all.
Yeah, so he really nice guy or whatever, pretty good at Yu-Gi-Oh too. At least as far as 7th, 8th grade kids can be. But anyway, he got tired of people stealing his cards. Apparently people would steal a few of his rare cards.
It's not hard when it's in a duffel bag.
Or maybe he would something about trading. Well, anyway, he was okay, I'm going to mark these cards so that all my cards are identifiable. And so he did it by putting a dot on the cards, by getting a pin and just kind of just making a large dot.
Oh my god.
In the corner of the card. Oh my god, it just makes me have a mental meltdown how much just destroying the value. I mean, he had a few old school kind of rare things. He wouldn't have, at the time we didn't really see them as that, but yeah, and he was just destroying his cards.
Blue eyes.
I specifically remember he had a Raigeki that he did that too, which this is a time when Raigeki was not an easy card to get. I think it was also banned, but we were kids just playing with whatever. Blue eyes cards and stuff that he'd done that too. I think there was a Chaos Emperor Dragon that he had.
Oh,
yeah, there were all kinds of things. He's ruining the value of that stuff.
Back in the day, it was only printed in Invasion of Chaos at the time.
Yeah,
that would have been a real Chaos Emperor Dragon.
Right, so that was kind of what he was about, and so just this Pikachu signed by Pikachu reminds me.
I just love that they had to go over the U to really make sure you could read it.
Yeah, that looks
this mint condition card. So you gonna pick it up?
Yeah, I think I'll put in my bid for the.
I'm sure it's already sold. There's probably somebody that wants that for their collection.
I'll put in my bid.
Gonna write on your own Pikachu now.
Speaking of Nintendo kind of properties, this is vaguely trading card news. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the new game that's coming out I think next month, getting exclusive Walmart trading card set.
I don't understand.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder is just over a month away from release, and pre-order bonuses for the Nintendo Switch game are starting to be unveiled. Shortly after GameStop's promotion was announced, whatever that was, Walmart has revealed an exclusive trading card set. Those who pre-order the game from the retailer will receive a pack, which will have 10 cards in total. These cards will be randomly selected from a set of 15 base cards, 4 hollow foil cards, and a limited edition Elephant Mario card, numbered 1 to 1,000.
What an interesting way to get in on the card game craze without really getting into it.
Yeah, so this is like a set of, so it's like 10 cards out of a pool of a total of like 20. And one in particular is like kind of the Chase Lottery card. And, you know, if you get maybe the number 1 or the number 1,000 Mario, or like, you know, there'll probably be value for like getting the 666 one or the 420
I
one.
hope people don't go ham trying to collect it, but at the same time, I get it. I mean, if you're a huge Mario fan, I mean, it's probably a move you might make.
According to Walmart, less than 3% of buyers will receive the Elephant Mario hollow foil, so it should be pretty rare.
Less than 3%, but not 1%.
Yeah, so I guess they'll just probably like the different characters from the game and maybe some of the enemies. As for the hollow foil cards, okay, actually, there's a list of this stuff. So players will have a massive list of playable characters to choose from, including Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Toadette, Blue Toad, Yellow Toad, Yoshi, Red Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, Light Blue Yoshi, and Nabbit. That seems like such a cop-out. Anyway,
It's a lot of Yoshis.
from Walmart's promotional art, all of the playable characters will receive a card, with the 4 Yoshis sharing one card and the 2 Toads appearing on another. Okay, good.
All right, good.
I was gonna say,
it's a lot of Yoshi. Your pack is 4 Yoshis?
The rest of the base cards will center on new villains, Bulrush, Trotton Piranha Plants, and Hoppo, as well as citizens of the Flower Kingdom like Prince Florian, Poplin, and a Talking Flower, and a Superstar. As for the hollow foil cards, they'll include Castle Bowser, Wander Bowser Jr., Wubba Mario, and I think that's one of his power-up forms in the game, and the Goomba power-up. All in all, the set does a nice job highlighting some of the cooler new aspects of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Should be a really nice incentive. Unfortunately, the nature of the packs will make it very difficult for Nintendo fans to acquire the whole set, requiring that they either purchase multiple copies of the game, because you think about it, you only get one. Which, yeah. Or find the cards on the infamous secondary market once they've been released.
They'll be expensive. At least if you pull the hollows, they'll be selling high.
Interesting.
You gonna pick it up? You gonna pick it up? You gonna pick it up?
I mean, I'm planning on picking up the game. I wasn't planning on pre-ordering it at Walmart.
Pre-order.
But maybe I will.
We have a Walmart. There's a Walmart everywhere. In fact, you should pre-order it from 2 different Walmarts.
I mean, honest opinion, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's fine-ish. Like, I mean, I get it. The card game boom is really cool, and you know, everybody wants to collect things. I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, it seems
I don't love it.
It seems inoffensive enough, although like we know the secondary market's going to have a field day with it, just because like.
And I hate feeding vendors.
It's it's a thing. However, I mean, if there really are if you're only able to get it by pre-ordering the game, I don't know that it's something that can be that heavily scalped. Like you could obviously like scalp a few of them, but at some point it's like, you've got to like, what you're gonna do, like pre-order like 100 copies of it, because that's still like $60.
It's a lot, but what someone could do is they could pre-order a bunch of copies, get their copies, and then sell the copies at a loss.
That's
to
probably
recoup
what they
some
would
of their
do.
money back.
Yeah,
like,
don't give them ideas, Al.
They already thought of it.
I know.
Like,
yeah,
someone's
someone's
already moving on that. Like, if I'm saying it, someone's thought of it already.
I very much hope that the way that you get the packs is like kind of a sealed thing. Like it should be sealed inside of like kind of the game case and everything. Because if it's like separate from that, then there's gonna be like the story that happens with everything, where like there's some Walmart employee in the back who just like swiped,
I would hope we're past that point.
No, we're not.
No, like that companies have learned that you can't trust Walmart employees.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't trust anyone. Like you can't. It's not even a Walmart employee specific thing. It's just people will do that no matter where they are. Like it sucks. I
remember. I think I pulled something like that with with like a comic book once, and I felt so bad. I went back like a couple days later to buy
like
the
you worked at
book.
like the place where they were.
I didn't work there, but I saw like there was a code on a comic book, and I was like, "Oh, this code, I can use it." And so I snatched it. Then I felt bad, so I went back and I bought it. And this was my reasoning was this: if somebody went behind me and bought that comic book with the intention of using that code, or even if they didn't want to use the code, I didn't want someone to buy that book and find out the code was already used.
Yeah, I know. I'm not like trying to sound like a goody two shoes here or whatever, but the feeling of someone else being screwed over like that always just melts me. Like I just can never do stuff like that.
You heard it here first, folks. Paul could never scam.
No, well, okay. Listen, all I'm saying is I hate the feeling that like someone, especially if it's like a kid or somebody,
Can't
if
control
like
who it'll
someone
be.
comes like just behind you and they pick this up and they're excited about like getting this code and then like it's been ruined for them. That's the thought just breaks me. So I can never. I mean, I never really thought about doing that anyway. But I always hate the idea that can happen. I'm reminded a lot of the old days where, like, there were Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga cards and stuff.
How could I forget?
God, you go into like a Books A Million, a Barnes and Noble,
all the cards.
Insert bookstore here, and people just rip and tear those like hollow cards out of those manga volumes.
I've seen damaged like Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga where people were just careless about how they were getting those cards.
Yeah, it was a thing. So
I remember a Shonen Jump volume where I don't know how it even happened. A piece of the card was still in there.
A piece of it?
A piece of the card.
Like an old shred.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how they did it because I remember correctly the cards were in like their own little booster pack, but somehow they just kind of ripped and there was like a corner.
Okay.
In the book, just in a crease.
Yeah. So at any rate, don't do that.
Yeah,
if you can help it. Obviously, I guess they don't. I don't even know if they're doing manga cards anymore. But anything like that, I would advise you not to. And maybe pick up anymore. Super Mario Bros. Wonder and get yourself some Mario trading cards.
Hey, could be the move.
See what you pull. Maybe you'll get one of the rare Elephant Marios.
So I played a new card game recently.
Did you?
Yeah. I played Marvel Snap. No, actually, I played the I guess what some people call the Marvel Snap Killer. I played DC Comics. What's it? I'm gonna get the name correct.
Their new mobile card game.
Yeah, mobile is a bit of a stretch. DC Duel Force.
Okay. I have not heard about this.
Yeah, I want to say I heard something about this game maybe months ago, but then nothing ever since, and then I completely forgot about it. Well, yesterday I saw a Facebook ad for it, and I was like, I have a pod
Facebook
coming
advertising
up.
works. Interesting.
I had a pod coming up. I'll try out this free to play DC Comics card game.
Yep,
I play card games. I like DC Comics. Sure, why not? And then I had this kind of hope that the game would have like the same level of quality that we got out of Marvel Snap, but as DC Comics, because I was like, oh, I'd like it more if it's DC versus Marvel.
Oh, you're more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan?
Yeah, I think so. I think of the physical comics, I've enjoyed Marvel more in recent years. But as far as the franchises that have sprung from DC Comics, I'm a bigger fan for sure. Anyway, so their DC Duel Force is not like Marvel Snap. It does not play in any way like it. Now the cards might look similar. I think both games kind of have this Hearthstone-y look to them, but they couldn't play any differently. Marvel Snap games, they are very short. You can get through a few games on a short bus ride. This game, the games can go.
So what's the gist of the game? How does it work?
So check it out. You have two leaders, not one. That's why it's Duel Force, not duel as in, time to duel.
So DUAL Force.
Yeah, duel as in two.
All right.
You get two leaders, and they define the type of cards that you can use. And of course, so far, I've seen nothing but like Justice League like members. But I've seen like villains like the Joker, Lex Luthor, that sort of thing.
Right, okay.
And so you get two, and they define what kind of cards you can use. Each leader has a different type. Batman is tech, Superman is might, for example.
Okay.
Tech is blue, might is red. And they even say that essentially each leader says 20 of your cards have to be of their color.
Oh, how large is it?
It's a 40-card deck.
Okay, so you're supposed to split down the middle.
Now, you can run two leaders of the same color, and you run 40 cards of those colors, of that color. But if you split your deck down the middle, 20 of one, 20 of another.
Got it.
So the limitation is then your card pool.
Okay.
How the game works is it has this kind of progressive resource system, similar to how in Battle Spirits the base game mechanic just gives you an extra resource every turn. Like in One Piece's Don system, how you just get a Don every turn. You have to draw it or anything. You just get another one. Theirs is a bit more. It's something you can only really do in a digital way. You have it goes bronze, silver, gold, and you have 2 of these little symbols. On your first turn, one of your symbols turns bronze, and now you can play any one of your bronze cards. Turn 2, you get that bronze symbol back, and then another bronze symbol. Now you can play 2 bronze cards. Turn 3, one of your symbols turns silver, and another one turns bronze. Now you can play
like upgrading.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you see how it works. Now you can play a silver card, a silver card or a bronze card, and a bronze card.
Right.
And it goes up to gold, but the game never reaches gold and gold. The game caps at gold and silver. So near the end game, you can play at max 1 gold card and 1 silver card.
Okay.
So there's like a balancing aspect to that, but I've actually found that resource system to be like pretty fair. It makes you have to build your deck on a level curve. If you've ever played Digimon or One Piece, that type of game, you build your deck where you have mostly low level cards, and then you have fewer and fewer high level cards. Yu-Gi-Oh, we've done that, but we just don't. We try not to run the high level cards at all if we can help it.
Yeah, unless there's like some cheat.
So your leader cards also have abilities, and so you build your deck trying to synergize with the abilities. I've only played one deck, so I'll quickly give you a rundown of how mine worked. It was Batman and Superman. Batman, every 2 turns, can search your deck for 2 gadget cards. Gadgets are fun because I love gadgets in Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyway, gadgets are free cards. They cost you nothing to sling them. They have very minute effects, but they're free card advantage. Also, he's able to attack that turn. Your leaders can't normally attack, so they're normally just your life points. But if every 2 turns, he can attack. Superman has an effect where every 3 turns, he can now attack. He has a lot of attack, and he's invincible for that turn, so he can't take any damage because he's Superman, the Man of Steel. And so you play cards around them where, like, my blue cards are trying to utilize gadgets and work with what Batman's got going on. He's going to give me gadgets. I want cards that can take advantage of those gadgets. And my red cards are kind of just thick. They're like, we have shields. We don't like dying. They're defensive cards, but they're also kind of like beat sticks.
Okay.
And that's just one deck. There's so many leaders in this game. You can kind of just pick your favorite DC Comics characters. Some have more synergy than others, of course, but you can kind of pick your favorites and try and figure out a playstyle around them.
Okay.
The gameplay is pretty fun. It's engaging. The games take a while. They're not Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
But
that kind of makes me wonder because I felt like, with these digital card games, there's oftentimes a bit maybe more focus on the games being quicker and kind of more like a bite size in that way,
and that's where we kind of run into some of the weirdness with this game.
Oh, okay.
So the games aren't
Fill
quick,
us in.
And so you're like, okay, well, it must be this is a game made for PC. And
what's it available on? I should have asked.
Yeah, so it's on PC, but it's not on Steam or Epic Games. Allegedly, a Steam release is coming, but it isn't here yet, so I had to download a separate client and just kind of hard install the thing.
That's kind of weird in 2023, but okay.
The game's design screams I was made for mobile, but it's not available on iOS or Android. It's not a thing.
Is there like word of them planning to do that, to release that?
I haven't seen any official word, but when I was kind of running through Reddit, someone said that it was supposed to, so I'll take the word for it.
I would think so. I mean, I just feel like if you're making a kind of digital card game,
it makes sense. It's the biggest audience you can possibly have.
Right, yeah.
The game's design screams that it's designed for mobile, but it's not on mobile. It's on PC, and it doesn't have the world's greatest kind of optimization. The game has loading screens, and they kind of hitch sometimes. They're not the fastest loading screens in the world. Mm-hmm. It feels a little rough around the edges, like we're still in beta. as far as I can tell, it's not in beta. At least the game didn't tell me I'm in a beta.
Yeah.
I didn't get a beta key or anything. I just downloaded
So it's
and
maybe just
started
a little
playing.
rough around the corners.
Except, it wasn't rough around the corners? The shop page.
Oh yeah, it never is.
My God, their monetization scheme is ready to go. That was the most well put together part of the entire experience. Their shop is ready for you to buy. They had a battle pass. They had their premium currency that you can buy spend to get cards. They had bundles where you can get cards at you can get cards, accessories, and stuff at a discount.
Yeah.
And they had different bundles for every single character.
Yeah.
And they told you it was in the bundle, all these flashy little
ready to welcome you into the shop with open arms.
The shop is solid. It is ready to go. But the rest of the game still feels rough. So while my main point here is I actually do recommend the game. I do recommend trying it. It is fun. I did enjoy playing it. But I don't necessarily recommend investing in it right now. Now, there's a competing thought that you should invest in it just because you find it fun. That might help the game reach its true potential. But the game does not feel finished right now.
So it feels like, are you concerned maybe that it won't exist maybe 6 months from now or a year from now or something?
Yeah, because I don't understand why the game is released like this at all. I feel
sorry to go.
I just feel like it should have baked a little bit more before it came out.
More time in the oven. Okay, so I've got a few questions.
All right, shoot.
Because the first one is, what is the free-to-play experience like?
It was
are you how much do you get gems or kind of whatever the equivalent packs
the gate,
for playing?
You do get a few packs. I want to say I ended up with 5 packs early in, and I got some cards and I was able to build some decks. And I've had a lot of success without spending any money. Though to be clear, guys, I think I've played a total of 7 or 8 games.
Okay. And
I'm at low rank, so they're not hard to win.
Yeah.
But I've had a decent enough time as a free to play player. It is frustrating because I think 3 or 4 times now I've played against people who've clearly spent money because they have much more cohesive decks with cards I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And
so they're paying to win.
It's annoying seeing decks that just kind of work really well, and I'm like, I want to do that too.
I gotta head over to the shop, man.
But I don't want to spend the money. It doesn't feel safe right now. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, second question. Does it capture the DC kind of just vibe? Visually, menus, characterization, graphic?
I would definitely say yes.
Okay, good.
It has lots of comic book aesthetics all throughout the UI and even the gameplay itself. It has a story mode where you go into different comic book stories. Typically, some of them are the more popular comic books. I played through the Flashpoint comic book, and it told the story. And during every single conflict, because the characters got to fight in comic books.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a fight, you would then take the role as the protagonist, or at least just one of the members of the fight, and then you would play against that other person. And it has different rules it imposes on the game state to make it a bit of a challenge.
Okay, maybe better simulate what that conflict might be like.
For instance, if you guys are familiar with Flashpoint, Barry Allen gets stuck in another timeline where he doesn't become the Flash because Reverse Flash decided he was going to undo all that mess. Well, and Barry Allen goes to that time and he looks for Batman because he heard Batman still exists. He's like, oh, well, Batman will know I'm the Flash. But you guys know that's not the Bruce Wayne Batman. It's Thomas Wayne, his daddy. And he is not a nice or happy man. So he starts immediately trying to beat the brakes off Barry Allen. Barry Allen, in this world, doesn't even have his Flash powers. So he has to survive being attacked by the Batman. So it throws you into the game, and it's survive 6 turns against Batman.
Oh,
it gives you a new deck. You have a new your Flash leader is not the Flash. You're Barry Allen, and it puts an object, literally an object, in front of your leader card, and your Barry Allen's only ability is to be able to move the card. And Batman has an ability to kill anything in front of him.
Oh wow! So it's like you're playing like a survival horror.
So for 6 turns, you're moving him around, placing objects in front of Barry Allen to try and ward off the sheer amount of pressure he's applying.
That actually sounds really fun. You know what that kind of vaguely reminds me of? Because I gotta connect everything to Yu-Gi-Oh in this world. Those like kind of Yu-Gi-Oh duel puzzles in the old video games, where like you would kind of be given a scenario and you had to kind of like figure out a solution to it, like a creative solution, or like survive for a certain amount of time.
It's not just you have to play the game. It's not like a Yu-Gi-Oh, an older Yu-Gi-Oh story mode where you just play a match against said NPC.
Yeah,
there are rules, restrictions, and unique cards in these modes that actually make it challenging but fun.
All right, next question. Does it defeat the Marvel Snap ripoff allegations? Because I'm sure that those are probably a thing.
And no.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the gameplay is different enough that if you play it, you will clearly know that this is not Marvel Snap. It is in no way trying to be Marvel Snap. However, Marvel Snap did come out first.
So that's always going to kind of be a...
And Marvel and DC, you know, they're competing brands. Everyone relates them to each other. People even confuse the characters between the different properties. And Marvel Snap does run better.
Yeah, okay. Which one's like more fun to you?
I like DC Dual Force more.
Okay.
I definitely do. It plays more like how a TCG normally does. People have compared it to Hearthstone. I haven't played Hearthstone, but this is like a more proper TCG. If you've played Yu-Gi-Oh, if you've played Vanguard, if you've played any of the card games we've had in our last skit, this game is way more similar to those than Marvel Snap is.
Okay.
It just needs some more polish.
So you think this does have potential? It's pretty,
Yeah.
Cool. That's interesting. I mean, I just didn't know that existed. I know there are some games that they don't really have like a load of marketing around them. I figured being maybe a DC thing, it would perhaps have a bit more, but...
I played a game this morning just to like kind of get the game fresh in my head again. And it was kind of fun. I was mad because my opponent's deck was like had cards I didn't have.
The pay-to-win guy.
But he had Green Lanterns in his deck, and they would summon constructs with their rings, and that was really cool. Then I beat him.
Yeah. Because
I'm better than him. And you know who you are.
Skill issue. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So DC Dual Force.
Check like it out. Google it. Because I don't know how else you're gonna find it. It's not on Steam yet. It's supposed to be. If it makes its way to the phone, I'll definitely play it.
Yeah. Odd that it's only on PC. That just feels a little bizarre, but
I don't know why they released it in the state that they did. I wish they hadn't, honestly, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Cool. Any other stories or
let's see, I forgot if I had any more.
Might have something
that
else?
might have been all I had. That might have been it. That actually was all I had. I'm weak this week.
Okay. Well, I think that's everything for me as well.
Oh, snap. You know what that means.
Cool. So it's time to reach into the pot. We actually have questions this week.
We do. There's stuff in here.
We were prepared. The pot is ready to draw cards. I guess we're the ones drawing the cards, but the pot is ready to deliver. These are you guys' questions from the community tab. So we thank you for your submissions and, of course, your continued support.
All right. So my first card says, what if strong cards with negates or one card combo starters, require dice or coin flips?
That is an interesting proposition.
So... okay, this is controversial, but not really.
Okay.
I think it'll be fine. I think people would actually play them anyway because they're strong.
Okay.
And my reasoning is Barrel Dragon and Blowback Dragon and whatever else the other dragon thing.
What do you mean? Explain more.
Yu-Gi-Oh players have in the past been willing to embrace the chaotic RNG nature of cards if they're strong enough to like warrant it.
Okay. I guess a good example of that would maybe like Snipe Hunter. Which
that's a better
very,
example.
Very popular card in the past. Okay, complete little quick tangent. There was a Twitter thread like last week where somebody was saying like that Snipe Hunters like was super overrated and like Yu-Gi-Oh players gaslit themselves into thinking that it was ever really a good card. And so some people got in the comments and they were like, no, here's why Snipe Hunter was good. It was like a fun kind of little argument to watch unfold. But anyway, not related to really this. Yeah, Snipe Hunter, I think, is proof that people are willing to, like, you know, throw on, you know, bet on RNG.
Because now there would have to be some like power creeping. Because right now, I think if a card had a dice roll or a coin flip on it, it would have to do more than just negate something. Because we can get negates.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'm just gonna kind of throw a scenario together here. So basically, we're gonna take like an average Omni negate, like a Baron de Fleur, right? That's always the easy go-to, everyone's favorite. Negates and destroys and anything. Maybe like I guess so you're flipping the coin. If it's heads, it does that, and if it's tails, it does nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
I would hope it doesn't destroy itself.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
those older chance-based cards.
That might be neat. I mean, I think people would obviously gravitate towards the things that don't have those effects. But if this is something where Konami, in this theoretical world, they've banned all the existing Omni negates and all the new ones are near identical, except that they have coin flips attached, would people play them? I want to say like maybe not. I think people just would not want to, you know, you're in the finals of the YCS and you're gonna like gamble kind of your victory or defeat on whether or not your negation goes through, like on a coin flip.
If you can build a board of 4 monsters that all have a like interruption, but it's chance based versus not having that ability.
Here's a question. Okay. So if my Baron de Fleur hits tails, I wonder, does it get to try again then later, like on a new activation later on?
In the same turn?
Yeah. Or because I mean, that might be kind of because that would still be a balancing thing.
Yeah, that would
like,
be.
if I activate, I'm trying to like bait the Baron, so I activate Lightning Storm or something, right? I'm just throwing an example out there. And they're like, okay, I'm going to negate with Baron. They have to flip a coin. They flip like, I guess tails would be destroyed. I'm going to take what's a better example? Rhoda. So they flip tails. They don't get to negate my Rhoda. I get my search. And now I go to summon my monster and use its effect. Does the Baron get to try again? In which case, I think people would still probably play that, or at least consider it.
I don't know. I think it could be. I know Yu-Gi-Oh players hate RNG. Like,
I know,
they hate RNG more than life itself. But if we didn't have a choice, kind of like in the Snipe Hunter days and the Blowback Dragon days, we do it.
There could be something.
I think we do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd actually like that. That would be fun.
There is one thing too. An example that I thought was really good was the way that Valence incorporated like coin flips and stuff into some of their effects. So,
yeah.
Some of their fusion monsters actually have, or one of their monsters that gets played a lot on Master.
Because they have this kind of game board aesthetic going on.
Yeah, where you kind of move around the board. One of those monsters has an effect where like you can target a monster in the field and flip a coin. If it's like heads, its effects are negated, and if it's tails, it's returned to the hand. So like both effects are beneficial, they're just different.
I remember Paul and I, we've done these like coin versus dice duels, and that was one of the things that we brought up with why these cards are bad and what will make them better is if one effect was very good and the other effect was just fine instead of horribly detrimental.
Yeah, all those old cards, it's like, if you get heads, you get a decent effect. If you get tails, it self-destructs or something.
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
You lose a bunch of life points.
Roll a 3, it does what you want. Roll a 6, it blows itself up.
Like, I think something that could be cool, just speaking of the Omni Negate thing, would be like, okay, if it's heads, you negate. If it's tails, you negate and destroy. Or like something kind of, or, something in that vein. Or maybe how like Bestial Dissipator is, where like, say you activate a monster effect and I get to flip a coin. If I flip heads, I can negate the monster's effect. If I hit tails, I can destroy the monster. Kind of like how like Doom King Ballardrock is.
Yeah.
Sort of similar to that.
Either or type.
It's kind of either or thing. So there could be something fun there. I don't know.
I'd play it. I'd play it.
The idea sounded crazier initially, but the more I think about it, there could be something fun there.
What you got?
Okay, so this person asks, is prize support worth it? So current Yu-Gi-Oh! Prize support.
I haven't participated in a YCS in some years now, so I can't answer.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm the best person to really answer this, since obviously I'm not like in the competitive circuit, at least right now. But
Chris was talking about prize support recently.
Yeah, I will say I have some thoughts. So I know that currently on Twitter, I've seen, or X, I've seen a lot of threads and stuff where top players actually are at like these last few YCS events have been sharing pictures of their prize support that they've gotten for like say top 8 or whatever. And it's kind of not in a very positive light. They're like, oh, look, rate my prizing. It's like, 12 packs of Duelist Nexus for getting like, top 8 or something at this YCS that you flew out to and stuff. So it doesn't really feel maybe worthwhile. And then there's obviously the story we talked about like the other week with like Pokemon doubling its, or in some cases even nearly tripling its prize support money and stuff. So,
Competing at Pokemon can be lucrative.
so from my kind of anecdotal slash observe,
from when you won your last YCS.
Right, yeah, I win them every weekend. It doesn't seem like people love current prize support. It seems like maybe Konami could afford to improve in that department. Chris,
You get a Switch OLED.
no, you don't get an OLED actually. Chris informed us that you get it's still like old Switches that they're giving out, like those Gen 1 Switch.
Why would I want a Gen 1 Switch?
I think with Konami, so unfortunately, or maybe fortunately if you're against it, but there's not probably ever going to be cash prizes. I think that just seems like that's the reality of it. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. Like I said before, I've kind of changed my stance on it. I think cash prizes could have some real benefits, but we're not, feasibly getting them as far as I can tell. So what is the next best thing then?
A Switch OLED.
And I think really, if they just don't want to give out cash, give out gift cards or something. Like give out like a fucking Best Buy gift card. I don't know. You can go and
It'll
buy
be
a
a
PC.
$200 Best Buy gift card.
Maybe it's better than we have now. But
Give away PS5s. At least they're worth more when you sell them.
yeah, I think giveaway PS5. I just heard what you said. Ouch. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that they could be doing a little bit better than old Switches. Like, if that's true, I don't know. Maybe that's since changed.
Look, when that Switch 2 comes out, y'all better upgrade. I better not hear about people winning Switches when the Switch 2 is out.
Or maybe like have a little. So like Asus, I think it was Asus was sponsoring Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds, right?
Oh, yeah.
I saw that they were like a sponsor of Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds. It was on the stream. Why give the winners like a gaming PC?
Or even the Asus little handheld PC deal.
Yeah, the ROG like portable thing. Like, I think like a gaming PC or something in that neighborhood could feel like a pretty meaningful prize. Like,
Might be a little awkward flying home with an entire PC.
Well, it'd be shipped out to you, I'd assume. Like, I know right now it's these prize cards, and there's a whole conversation to be had about that. Where like
it's hard to move prize cards.
Prize cards, I imagine they're not the easiest things to move, and I'm still not a huge fan of like prize support being something that a player has to sell. Like, it's weird to me because obviously, I guess if you get a Yu-Gi-Oh! Prize card, the idea would be that it's a prized card and you keep it, and like that's great. And some people I'm sure do that, right? They keep their trophy, they keep their prize card. But oftentimes you will just see people selling these prize cards and like selling top cut mats and stuff like that. And it kind of feels a bit sad that, like, I don't think there should be prizes where the intention is just that you turn around and sell it. I think the intention should be that you give them something that is still useful to them. Mm-hmm. So that's where I thought a gaming PC would be like something.
Remember the prizing for the Duelist Kingdom tournament?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Where like you either get like the $3 million in prize money or the King's other hand, where like it's kind of a wish of yours that gets granted.
Like, the anime already set our expectations, and we're all the way the opposite. Like, can you imagine? Like, Yugi wins Duelist Kingdom, and Joey's like, "Nah, I can get that surgery from my sister." And Yugi hands him a Switch. You go sell that, Joey.
Yeah, it's listen, I know Konami probably can't do the money thing, but I do think that there could be improvements. I will defer this question, however, to the comments. What would be good prize support if money is not on the table? Like, what do they do next? Because I know
Konami covers the surgery of your choice.
That is right. Hey, I've been needing a few surgeries. Body's a little creaky these days. Maybe Konami can... People
start funding cosmetic surgery.
I mean...
Konami gonna pay for my BBL.
It makes me think... Oh, my God. It makes me think, like... maybe they could, all right, this will be a lot. I know they're like spending a lot of time on this, but it's a good question. Like, Konami kind of has this weird thing where they seem to be torn between how much they want Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Master Duel and Duel Links specifically to appear as like esports, sort of, but then they don't really follow through with the whole like idea of player sponsorships and like big prize pools and stuff. So I mean, I think like that's, yeah, I don't know. It's hopefully they can do something. I don't know. I don't know what it needs
crossed
to
for
be.
the future. I'm optimistic, though I won't be competing, so it's not really relevant to me.
That's the main thing. I'm not like kind of currently going to like YCS events and stuff like that, so I can't. I would love to hear from like current top players. What would you want to see in prize
The people
support?
who
What would make
will
it better?
feasibly actually win this these prizes.
Yeah, because I don't really know that I'm allowed to have much of an opinion on it. I'm not winning.
Have you ever been scammed buying or trading cards?
Oh, plenty.
Have I been scammed? I think I've told a story before about how when Alex and I were very young, we went to our very first kind of locals at Books A Million, and a guy traded us like 3 Ziploc bags or 2. It was some very large Ziploc bags of like IOC and other commons for like a few of our rare cards that we didn't really know were rare. We didn't have like a value on them, and all we saw were just this intense amount of cards being traded for a very few cards. We just thought, oh, more is better than less.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we got scammed.
Yeah, I think the story I think of is once upon a time, all you youngsters won't really remember this, online trading was a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, you was trading on Pojo.
Yeah, I was trading on Pojo. I was trading on YouTube. There was a thing, like, and they would do online trades. It was funny. The way that it worked was like you'd have like a refs list, like your references. And so like, if you trade with people, they get added to your refs list. Here's my refs, dude. Check out my refs, Alec. And I've got a long list of refs. Well, anyway, if you have a lot of refs, that means you're trusted. And so the person with more refs is the person with less refs has to send first.
Right.
Which kind of like makes sense, right? However, this was, of course, rife with scamming and, lying and all that stuff. People would copy and paste refs lists, right? Like, Alec has traded with 100 people and I've only traded with like 2. Okay, I'll just copy and paste some of your list onto, because it was just part of like your Pojo signature or whatever, like, however that worked. Or you put it on your YouTube channel description back when YouTube worked that way. Well, yeah. So, anyways, to fast forward to my story. When gold,
who you scammed?
The very first, no, I did not scam anyone, but I did get scammed. When the very first gold series came out, it was the first or the second one. It was whichever one like reprinted Dark Armed Dragon and like Gold Sarcophagus and all these cards at the time, which were like huge money
I feel
cards.
like that's the second one.
I think it was the second one.
The third one, I remember I got the third one.
So anyways, like Gold Sarcophagus and stuff like that was, I think I pulled like gold Sarks. I pulled 2 maybe.
Ooh.
And I think for context, I'm maybe like in like 8th grade at this time.
2 gold.
Or something.
You had more money than your mama.
Yeah, so
He was balling.
I did pull actually a gold Crush Guard Virus when that came out.
2?
The very first one. No, not 2. But I did in the very first gold series. I did pull a gold Crush Guard. Sold it on eBay. Had $200. Richest kid in the world for like a week or 2 or however long. Like I bought a camera or something with it.
That's crazy.
Figures. But yeah, so anyways, I got these like gold Sarks. They were worth, let's say, maybe $50 a piece. And so I was like trading with some guy.
Liquid gold.
And I sent the cards. And he just never sent anything back. And that was like my scam story. I just got scammed out of 2 gold Sarks. Don't remember what I was trading for.
All right, Doc's username. Let's sick the whole chat on him.
I'll go look up my Pojo account and find his name. Yeah,
actually,
and of
you
course,
might be able to.
I probably could. Pojo still exists. And the thing is, like, there was no recourse. There's no authority figure. There's there's nothing. People would, threaten to like, I'll file a report with USPS. You can't do that shit. They're not going to do anything about it. So, yeah, I got scammed out of those cards, and it really sucked. And I think that was the last time I ever did online trading. So,
yeah, that'd be my last time too.
I mean, I didn't really even do very much of it to begin with, but You know, it was cool. That was like a period of time where people actually just traded Yu-Gi-Oh cards in general. It doesn't really happen even in locals much anymore.
I think during that era of like card gaming, I didn't really use the internet like that. I never traded anything online. Didn't buy anything. Didn't sell anything.
Yeah, so that's my biggest scam. I certainly would not advise online trading very much today. Although I suppose like maybe there are more safeguards in place, but you'd probably just buy your stuff on TCG Player, huh?
Yeah,
That's what most people should do.
I keep it simple.
All right, my second card.
Here we go.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Do you go to events even if you won't or can't play in the main event?
I've done it many times.
Yeah, Alec knows all about it. And Alex
I've been dragged to many of an event, and I don't always care to compete, and so that's the real fun, finding something else to do.
Yeah, I think it's fun to go to like, YCS events. I always advise players. I still hold to this advice for anybody who's like gotten into Yu-Gi-Oh recently or been playing a long time. You should go to one YCS if you are able. I think it's just a good experience to have.
YCSs are way better than they used to be.
Yeah, I know that these days they're supposed to be really fun, but I mean, like YCS, they're fun events. There's a lot to do. It's a very it's a good experience. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to see kind of what the game is, like how the game is played, sort of at the top level, but also just lots of trades. You get to like make a token at the token booth, buy cards from
trading.
vendors.
There's vendors.
You'll meet Yu-Gi tubers.
Now there's a lot of side events too.
Yeah, and the public events are a great attraction too because, like, sometimes, their prize support these days is sometimes better than main event prizes.
You can get you can get uncut sheets and stuff.
Yeah, like uncut
things with
sheets
actual
like
monetary
rares.
value.
Yeah, uncut sheets of like Starlight rares and stuff or sets, and then also like the giant cards and like oversized cards. Those
can be sold for like a few thousand, if not a few hundred.
Yeah, the Winamats. So it's definitely something that I would recommend going to. Particularly, maybe you shouldn't like fly out there by yourself. Find a group of friends, split a hotel, and like.
Oftentimes,
hop in a car and drive out
even
there.
if you aren't intending to grind the public events and like win these large prizes, there's usually someone there that will buy your like ticket stubs off you.
Yeah.
Is that breaking TOS? Take that out.
Well, no, I know. I don't know if that's like something people still do.
I didn't do it. I've never done that.
Yeah, I just know that when people were at like YCS events, they would always try to like buy the ticket stubs. I'm assuming they probably punish people for that now.
Yeah, I've never done it, never sold, never bought.
At any rate, I mean, I've really never had enough to buy anything because I'm not.
Yeah, me neither.
Very good.
Never, not once.
So yeah, but I think that everybody should go to a YCS at least once.
So much fun.
It's a fun time. I don't go to very many myself anymore these days. I'm not really into like competing as much in Yu-Gi-Oh. I play my Master Duel. I'm fine, but yeah, I would say it's fine to go. One thing I will say is a big compliment to Konami and like the other organizers of these events. They don't charge you to go into a YCS event.
Yeah, you can just show up.
And I used to take that for granted, like the fact that you can just show up at a YCS and just walk in the door and just casually observe and kind of sit around and trade.
Some of these other card games.
Some of these other card games, I've been to these events, like these regionals.
You want to watch? $30.
Like they'll charge like little attendance fees, like a spectator fee. Like you want to come inside, $30, $20, however much.
Like, bro, it's a gift if I walk into your venue.
So yeah, I would not pass up the chance to go to YCS, particularly if there is one within a few hours of you. Definitely.
And I love going to YCS. Even if I don't play. Why? Because they're always in convention centers, and that means there's stairwells and the little rooms and like little like pockets where I can go to sleep. No one can find me. Even I don't know where I am. I've disappeared at many an event. Sometimes I've gone to sleep in events and woken up and there's someone next to me. I'm like, whoa, where did you come from? Just
kind of terrifying.
It is what it is. That's event life, y'all.
Yeah.
Don't sleep with your cards out. That's recipe for disaster.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, be sure you watch your stuff. Of course, that's always a good warning. But yeah, those are the questions.
Yeah, that was the pot.
Very good questions this week.
Which means...
And very long episode this week. Sorry for all you guys.
Was this one long?
This was like, I think, nearly 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
So sorry for you guys that don't want that, but, we're looking out for the guys who do want that, though,
That is correct. Anyways, thank you guys, of course, for all your support. Thanks for watching. A couple of questions. First of all, would you guys be interested in a Pot of Greed clips channel? It is something that I saw in the comments recently. Somebody was like, hey, can you make like a channel or some place where like we kind of clip the show into like just each specific story or whatever?
Oh,
And like so somebody can kind of just consume just the stuff that they want later and without having to like scrub through this like hour and a half, 2 hour long thing.
I have been on a few of other podcasts, like clip channels. Mm-hmm. I say a few, just a trash taste podcast, because I never can sit through the whole thing, but I like to see the small parts.
So is that something that you guys would want to see? Let us know down in the comments. And also, check out our latest skit on the Team APS main channel.
Oh, yeah, that one was so much
fun. It was a lot of fun to do. I think that you guys would really appreciate it. YouTube did not maybe do the best job of distributing it out to people because it didn't get very many views. But we would appreciate it if you guys would have a look, show it some algorithmic love, watch the whole thing, comment, thumbs up.
Let them know you came from the Pot of Greed.
Yeah, share it with a friend, link it to people, all that stuff. All right, I think that's it.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.